Hello. Today I'm here to discuss how large language models can assist in the generation of test cases and connecting those test cases to requirements for long duration NASA spaceflight. To begin with, let's start with an agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about the state of the art of LLM code generation, and I say very specifically in February 2026 because this is continuing to change rapidly. I'll talk about how MCPs and command line interfaces can be used to drive test tools, which are a very powerful way to add determinism into a process that is probabilistically generated. I will then talk about how requirement traceability is particularly important and how that requirement traceability can be used to generate test cases from the requirements all the way to MCDC code coverage. This fits in the context of standards such as NASA's NPR 7150.2D for human spaceflight. And I'll talk about how all of this is coming together in 2026 and how this might look in a year or two in where humans will be in the loop. First, a little bit about myself. I am a Senior Director of Engineering at LDRA/tasking. I've been in the verification and validation space for a long time at companies such as SpaceX, Maxar, Aerospace Corp, and I have been at LDRA for a long time, where I've worked with large global teams in aerospace, automotive, industrial control projects, all of which have standards around safety. And so I've helped our customers through many certification challenges. And now I'm excited at where we are in terms of AI, and I hope to trust AI and LLMs to improve the reliability of complex missions. Who are we? Who do I represent? So Tasking is a company that sells compilers and tools. So these tools include certified compilers, and what that means is that you know that the code that you put into the compiler will produce a certain designated output object code, and that will operate as expected on a target. Certified libraries, debuggers, test automation, software analyzers. And that combines with LDRA, where we've been doing requirement traceability for a long time, built on top of static and dynamic code analysis, unit and system tests, and pulling it all together for standards compliance reporting. In all sorts of domains, primarily automotive and aerospace are our two largest areas where we do a lot of work in high performance safety and security tools. Now, today, maybe this wasn't always true, but it's definitely been true for the last year. Every month in software engineering has been a lifetime. From 2025 to 2026, every month there's been a sea of change. I presented something in 2025 where I said that, there's really no thought to testing in the context of LLM-based code generation. But I think that's changed. And the reason is hallucination. If you don't give LLMs enough information to understand what the problem context is and what the expected results are, they'll hallucinate. They'll make up whatever it takes to get in the middle. But if we emphasize engineering versus coding and asking questions and looking at what results we'd expect, we can pull that V&V loop into the context of LLM generated code. And so we can take that LLM generated code and do something useful with it. Use it as part of our certified applications. And that's what we've been doing at Tasking in LDRA with our work with compilers, debuggers, testing tools in a variety of standards. And as I mentioned, we don't just do this in aerospace and defense, but we do this in automotive, medical device, and other arenas. LDRA has been widely used on NASA programs, on basically every plane that's flown has used LDRA as part of their verification toolset. Now, where does that take us in 2026? Well, we support the entire V model. We have tools that go from the planning process to the acceptance process. And Trace, the focus on LDRA is not just the low-level parts, but the arrows, making sure that your requirements are connected to detailed design, which is connected to code, and follow through the other way. So unit testing, integration, and acceptance. And these are all parts in which, what we're talking about, using LLMs can help, but they can't be the only source of truth here, because LLMs can do this in a probabilistic fashion. So it is important to incorporate tools that operate deterministically to apply things such as static analysis to make sure that the items that we've generated probabilistically don't have bugs, don't have faults as we ship them out into the world. And then follow through with test process and make sure we have a way to run those tests automatically and look at the results in a qualified way. All of that allows us to make sure our code does what it is supposed to do. Now let's talk a little bit more about that LLM code generation state of the art. And again, I don't have a crystal ball. This could be a lot different next year, but I suspect that we're kind of approaching the pinnacle here. That you can use AI models to generate very good code. I would say in many cases today, that code is better than what humans would have written by hand. But if you don't give it enough context, you'll have hallucinations. Fabricated APIs, deprecated methods, invented libraries. So how do we eliminate that? The answer is context. Vague prompts are the number one driver. The model will guess whatever's in the middle. But the flip side is, if we document everything we need to do in detail, tell the LLM this is what our functions are, this is what we expect them to input and output, these are the frameworks that we expect to use, we can dramatically reduce the hallucination risk. We can't take it to zero because LLMs are fundamentally probabilistic. So even when we do that, we still need to do verification and validation. Reducing hallucinations is part of it, but applying determinism, V and V, is the ultimate solution. And techniques such as RAG and vector databases, they all help. Everything that gets us a little bit more context is useful. But the most important concept is this idea of spec-driven workflow. Keeping a human in the loop, but having the human determine the spec, determine what's expected, and then following through to make sure the output does what is expected as well. Not just let the LLM do everything that it needs to do on its own. One-shotting doesn't work when you're writing flight software. You need to define, these are the parts that I want to write, and then write them and make sure that they operate correctly. So what does that mean in real life? Well, in aerospace, we've always found system engineering is very important. But now our software system engineers, our system engineers with a software background are now a superstar. They can now produce code much faster and more reliable than ever before because they're the ones who think about those system engineering activities and make sure that they're done and they're followed up with results. So by applying those processes and defining those goalposts, we can not only generate code, but it's something that we can use. It's something that we can verify and use in flight. MCP and command line are two equally important tools to fit into part of this. Now, what does that mean? So ultimately, we need to test the code that we're running on the target. And so how do we do that? Well, we need to connect to a debugger and then send the information from the target back to the host, analyze it, and make sure the tool does what it's supposed to do. Now, a human can do that by pressing the buttons, by following the procedure, but in fact, an LLM can as well. Now, there's two basic ways an LLM can do that. One is MCP protocols, which is an HTTP-based protocol that allows LLMs to access local tools. But I actually find the more compelling case can be made for using command line driven tools. And what this means is using, making sure your test tools can be driven by a command line to output, to both input and output data on the target, and thus that command line execution can make sure that your code does what it is supposed to do, and we have results that we can verify in our verification and validation reports. So AI workflow is particularly important in this context, but for that AI workflow to be effective, you need to make sure that your AI tools have the ability to access things on the target. Test case generation to MCDC. The other part, which I've illustrated with some of our partners, such as Visual Software, and which many of you might do with Doors, is, again, going back to that command line that allows you to access that data in Doors, in Visual, in Polarian, in JAMA, whatever requirement management system you have. You can pull that data and then extract the requirement information that has to do with specific test cases, and then feed that test cases. We typically do this as JSON data into tools such as LDRA to execute that on the target. So you can extract that information by combining information from the requirement scope to information in the code scope from the static analysis, and be able to execute on the target with accuracy, and make sure you get the traceability and compliance in the loop. For DO-178C, for ISO 26262, for NPR 7150, this is a great capability that you can implement by using LLMs to access and read your requirements. Historically, this was just about impossible because there's so much data, and requirements data is never really unstructured, but it's always structured in its own way. And tests and source code is also always structured in its own way. And so now we have the ability to combine all those scopes and translate the information so that we can follow the requirement to the source code to the test and make sure that our tests do what they're supposed to do. This pulls through for standards such as NPR 7150.2D, which has a lot of emphasis on requirements traceability, and code coverage. So all of these can be implemented at levels such as A, B, C, and D by using LLMs, requirement management tools, in conjunction with test tools that can execute on the target. That gets you a definitive scope of how qualified the software is to run in its operating environment, and allows you to make sure that when you fly your mission, you're confident it will run through its duration. Now, where do humans fit in the loop here? Well, yeah, I mean, the most important role of humans here, now that we're having more of these dots that are automated by LLMs, and I would say in many cases they're not fully automated, but LLMs can accelerate these processes. The most important role of humans here is to verify traceability, to make sure that those requirements actually do map to the detailed software design, to the code, and to the unit test, and so on. We can look at this by looking at traceability reports that show how these elements come together, but eventually there is a lot of value to a human to get in the loop and make sure all of the parts fit together as expected. And by providing reports for regulatory bodies and certification, this gives us a great high-level overview that allows us to make sure our code is doing what it is supposed to do. CI/CD CV, continuous integration, delivery, and verification. So we also need to think about what parts of the loop can be done automatically. and make sure that those verification elements are also put into a CI/CD loop so that when you're doing code changes, you can apply SAST and GAST processes, such as static analysis and fuzz testing, to your code as it is being developed so that when it gets integrated, you have a very high chance that the parts will work together successfully. So AI also gives us great capabilities in terms of making sure those parts fit together. Because before LLMs, a lot of this data, while it wasn't unstructured, it was hard to compare the structures of the requirements, of the build, of the test. Now we have the ability to pull those disparate types of data and integrate with your custom systems as well, such as maybe you have a custom test system, and pull it all together in a way that you can visualize compliance and make sure that you're confident when you're ready to ship your code. The overall message here is that, compliance is important. We can't fly our code on our long duration spaceflight missions without making sure that we're confident that it will keep working without us having to manually patch it from time to time. But the flip side is that, we need to be aware that we're in a time in which we're doing a lot of things in space, and to be able to accomplish all of the tasks that we want to do in human spaceflight and in spaceflight in general in the next years, we need to make sure we're able to do that compliance element as well. And that compliance element needs to run at the speed of innovation. We can't necessarily slow down just for compliance if we can make our compliance part of our process so that we know that our code will work successfully when we deploy it in the field and in our space systems. So some conclusions here. I believe in 2026, we can write good software better with LLMs than with humans. But that's just part of the overall picture. Good software still begins with good requirements. And those requirements need to be reviewed by humans to make sure that they actually accomplish the goals that we intended them to. Sometimes I ask an LLM to do something and it just says, hey, I'm done, because it thinks that all I want is the message that says, hey, I'm done. But obviously, we need to, in the middle, add some checks to make sure that it actually did the task that we wanted it to do. And that putting those tasks in the middle is all about traceability. Traceability, and in this case, humans defining traceability, allows us to verify that the software is really doing what it is supposed to do. And it allows us to also pull data from disparate systems to create test cases and have those test cases drive our code execution and make sure that it shows that we have verified our code appropriately. So this allows us to accelerate standards compliance. And in this space, NASA NPR 7150.2D is particularly important, which allows us to make sure that not only we're writing good software, but we're confident that we'll operate correctly in the field, not just now, but for years to come. Thank you, and I'll pause for questions.